hoping to capture the story of Jose Sanchez, um, that was born and raised in the Caribbean coast of Colombia in a town called Barranquilla. And the story is a story of endurance and how he was able to overcome his poverty.
Yeah, we was very happy because I had friends, and we would, you know, talk a lot about things, and we would play. I would used to play soccer, you know, with a cloth, a ball made of cloth inside stockings, you know.
He was pretty much, he had all the odds against him,
Right.
and he was able to bring his family, his whole family out of poverty.
Bring him out of poverty to the United
Right.
States and give him a privileged life. So
Yeah.
I went to school when I was 10, about 10, and I stayed there in that same school. It happened to be a public school until I was 14. After 14, because of the economical situation in my house, I was forced to find a job.
I think he only attended school 4 years in
4 years.
his life.
Right.
Yeah, so that's pretty amazing that someone with such a little education was able to learn English, to
Right.
learn how to type, to learn how to use the adding machines. But he does give credit to his dad, because his dad did put it in his mind. He pushed him to learn these skills.
My father never had the opportunity to go to school, but he was a very good father. And he always advised me, stressed to me that I should learn to type and typewriter, and then also use the adding machines.
His dad used to was a security guard who was in charge of cleaning offices, and he would bring my dad along when he was about 8 years old, and when they were done cleaning the places, he would tell my father that if he wanted to get ahead in life, he should learn how to type and learn how to use the adding machine. So he started practicing at the age of 8 years old, and he self-taught. He taught himself how to do all this.
And then after we did that work at night, I would, sit and use those typewriters and began to practice with book, and I learned that. That's why I was a good stenographer.
So when he was working as what do you call it, delivery boy or
Messenger. Yeah.
messenger boy, and he brought a message over to KLM, which was a Dutch Airlines. The secretary got to see him typing and was impressed with his skills.
Since I knew how to type, I was like good a stenographer. Their secretary, a lady, she said, I have noticed that you want to improve, that you want to excel. So I suggest that you learn English, because this is a foreign company, and that would be the only way to progress. And then she told me what book to buy, and I went to a library, bought it, and I started learning English at night until about 2 a.m. in the morning. But I was so happy learning new words, because I never thought that that one thing would be called differently. Like a table, like a mesa be called table, like that. Oh my God, it was something I really enjoyed. So one day the secretary, some time passed by though, and she said, did you buy the book? And then I said, yes, and I'm enjoying it, I'm doing all right. And then she spoke in English, and I answered. I said, oh my God, you have done, you have done a good job. And soon enough, in a couple of days, she called me again and I said, listen, my boss is taking you to the airport, and you're going to help him with the planes over there.
I think he was about 15 when he started working for KLM Airlines.
That is a great story because it shows that in order to get ahead of life in life and to have any kind of opportunity, it doesn't just come to you, but you have to have and learn and practice and dedicate your time to a skill, and also be innovative. Typewriting and scribing and doing all those things was the future.
There were 11 children and he was the oldest, so it was really tough for him. He told me that sometimes he would work all day, and they only had two incomes, which was his income and his dad's income, my grandfather. So he said sometimes he would arrive at night, but the kids had eaten all the food. So he would go to sleep hungry, and he said it's terrible. It hurts. He says you can't even sleep when you're hungry.
Poverty was something that was terrible. Sometimes we had nothing to eat, and we were a lot of brothers, and we would even cry because we were so hungry, and my mother would prepare some coffee and.
Where my grandpa would eat bowls of cereal like breakfast with water because there was no milk. They couldn't afford milk. So
when he was going to school, they were given a free lunch, and actually two of his brothers would come at lunchtime and he would share the lunch with them. He practically raised his brothers because by the time he was 18, most of his brothers moved in his house, and my mom raised, maybe the last 5 were raised by my mom. So and he put them through school, through college, and
a couple of them are doctors, lawyers, right?
Right. There's lawyers and doctors in the family, and he always helped them out. Whether they needed a car or, down payment, or he always had a generous heart and helped out his brothers and his dad. But his dad was never a good businessman. I remember my grandfather having a butcher shop. We started investigating and spying on grandfather, and he was actually giving free meat to the pretty girls that came to the shop. So that's where the profits went. And he would always say that a fox was coming at night and stealing the chickens. And then we found out he would go to the market, and it wasn't just the girls, but he had a soft heart for poor people.
Okay, so it was fun, but then when I quit with them, I had been with them 7 years, and but my salary was not enough because I had married my beautiful wife, and I already had a daughter. So I flew. I had free tickets, so I flew to Caracas, Venezuela, where they were making good money, and I found a job the very first day that I went, looking for. Not only they were paying me about 3 or 4 times more what I was making in Colombia, but they got me all the required visas, papers for me and my family.
While he was at the airport receiving cargo on the counter, he noticed that there was people sending birds, like little boxes with birds, to the United States. And so he was always very curious, and whenever he'd see the addresses, he would write them down. Yeah, and so when since he would get free flights, he decided to go to New York to that pet shop where the birds were being sent, and he talked to the owner and asked them, "Will you pay me if I send you birds or monkeys or whatever you need, snakes?" And so the pet shop owner said yes.
But I used to translate letters for some of the exporters.
Oh, okay.
So I had to learn about how much they were paying for the animals. So I had some idea.
And you had some addresses and names?
Yes, yeah, I had some addresses. I knew where I could find them. With my brother, who happened to be in Venezuela, he was 1 year younger. One night, we we talked about making more money. You know, we needed more money, and since I had to learn about the animal business, live animal business,
While you were at the airport.
while I was in Colombia at the airport, uh, I we went back to Colombia. I quit, went back to Colombia, and started the animal business.
They came back with a little bit of capital from the Venezuela trip, and that's when he started writing to everybody, writing to pet shops and zoos, and I think he mentioned that his first shipment was to Holland.
We started the business from our house. We would get the addresses of importers. I found a customer in New York, and oh my God, we began to make money. Soon we bought a car, for soon again one more car. Then we bought the something what? We bought the beautiful farm, made cages, pools, everything there. Oh, that was like a zoo. And then after a while, we had a lot of customers all over Belgium, United States.
The business was really good. Yes, I mean, I remember that my dad told me that he was buying, like, let's say, parrots for $5, and they were paying him $50 for them over here.
We began buying monkeys and
Macaws, parakeets, I mean, toucans.
Yeah, toucans, all kinds of birds.
parrots, macaws, and also baby turtles. Thousands.
They sent pools of like literally 1,000 baby turtles from the Amazon at a time. Like
Snakes, yeah. Anacondas, yeah. Boas, yeah.
Baby jaguars, the ocelots.
Ocelots, yeah.
What I remember from the amphibians, I remember the alligators, which are called caimans, iguanas,
any frogs.
snakes, a few frogs, but frogs are poisonous.
Right.
But poison arrow frogs, I saw them.
Also lizards and things like that. And I had somebody that was smart collecting snakes. Like in the afternoon, I knew how to where they were under the dead trees, you know. And
Mammals and would be monkeys, jaguars, sloths,
Tapirs.
tapirs.
Let me see what.
That one dolphin.
Yeah, they did bring one dolphin once.
They're a rare species of pink freshwater dolphin that are only found in the Amazon.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about them is that there's a legend that they're actually, it's during the full moon or a certain time of year that there's a story, I'm sure you know the story better, that they actually,
They turn human.
they turn humans, and there's a myth that they will, if there's any children walking or lurking around the water's edge or the river's edge, they'll take them and turn them into dolphins. It's an old Colombian or Amazonian story.
I went with a friend of mine that used to buy animals from me. He was from California, Ray Folsom, and he saw the pink porpoises jumping, you know, in the river. He said, "Oh, I would like to, you know, can you get me one and I'll buy it from you?" Then I said, "Well, as long as you know you buy it from me, I would." So I told the people, and I don't know how, but they caught it. They caught one. It was a big one, yeah, and about the size of this, yeah, about 9 feet, something 9 foot, and then we made a box, you know, wooden box, and they put plastic inside like a coffin, like a casket, and the water and sent them a plane. In the plane that I flew back to Bogota and Barranquilla, the dolphin was with me. And we had the dolphin in my compound in a pool for about 2 months. And until this fellow from California found a buyer, which happened to be the Miami Zoo. And one day we sent it to Miami, and the dolphin was here in Miami at the Cannon Park for some time until a hurricane overflowed everything, and the dolphin. Yeah, he escaped. So to the sea.
I got bitten by caimans and bitten by snakes, because if you don't catch them quick, they
Right,
get you.
Right.
So I'm actually scared of like up to this date I'm scared of lizards and frogs, and once they catch you, they don't let go. So I would have to walk with the caiman in my finger to one of the workers to help me take it off out of my finger. But of course, by that time I was crying.
Also, I bought a huge anaconda, one of the largest, I think it was 20 or 21 feet long. And I sold that snake to somebody here in Miami. And he said, well, but I need to measure that. Yeah, that was the biggest I ever found. Yeah, so we measured that one day, one afternoon. It was a huge, big thing. While I was in the market in Barranquilla, there I saw somebody who used to sell me animals. And he said, hey, I got some snakes for you. And he had a bag, 1 or 2 bags. And why don't you take them? And they'll go over there and you pay me. Okay, fine. So I put them in a pickup truck that I had, and I went home to have lunch. While I was having lunch, somebody stole the bags. And later on, a block away or so, when they opened the bags, the snake, they ran away, and the snake were loose all over the place in that city. So my God, every day we had people, knocking on our door. Ah, we got a snake over there. There was a young lady that was almost blind, and she has had a bird, a trupial, for many years. And she would wash the trupial every morning, with water. And that day she did, and she sprayed the snake that I had eaten the bird. So the snake ate the bird, and then she was trapped. She couldn't come out. She thought she was spraying the bird. Yeah, well, we did pay her, but we apologized. What could we do? The thieves, they are still running. They were so scared.
This man wanted to show him the snakes, and they were in the middle of crowded downtown. So when he opened the sack, the vine snake popped out and bit him right in the nose, and then it escaped. And there were so many people that the vine snake was actually traveling on top of people's heads and shoulders. And you could hear the screams. You could know where the snake was because people were screaming, So yeah, that's a very funny story.
One day we had two spider monkeys that escaped. That's when we had the animals in our house, when we began from our house. And they ran away and they climbed on the electric poles. And people, my God, a crowd. And we try to attract them to come down, you know, like offering bananas and things like that. But at one time, they stay for, at least at one time, they step in the two of them, they step on one of the wires, which that they weight, then they touch the other wire and they electrocuted.
The monkeys were very smart, so they would open the cages. So this monkey opened the cage, and a few of them got out. A spider monkey, and when he was running around the house, because this is when they first began, where they worked out of their home, he picked up my sister Patricia, which she was about maybe 2 years old, and the female monkey picked her up and ran around the house with her.
It was a spider monkey too, a huge spider monkey, and she escaped, and in the way out, grabbed my daughter. We trapped her, we caught her. We needed animals for the Amazon, and it was hard to find a supplier. So I went myself, and that was a trip over the jungle. I went with somebody that knew the area. Yeah, we went to the villages and through the river and the affluents of the river, and talk to the animal handlers, whatever, the trappers. They would breed the animals over there.
There were trappers that would trap them in cages, and
We were canine hunting at night. Of course, we went for the small ones. Yeah, with the flashlight, and you would see the eyes in the night, and you would get close to them with the boat and grab them, by their neck. But of course, you have to.
From the top of the neck.
But you had to grab them because they bite. Oh yeah. Well, I only did it for fun, Yeah, but I did. Yeah.
He would only go and capture animals because he had curiosity or special orders. He would travel to the Amazon, like the dolphin was a special order.
right.
But usually it was just Indians and local people that would capture them and bring them to him.
In that adventure, those travels through the Amazon River, I remember one time you told me that you experienced the natives and Indians in canoes, and with that they wore almost no clothes, and they hunted and they fished in small canoes.
Yeah, the little boys, the little Indians, they would paddle those canoes, in those in the river. That amazed me, and they wouldn't even wave for you or nothing.
They're not friendly.
They weren't friendly, and usually they have a lake in front where they would fish, and since they didn't want any foreigners to go in there, they would make it rough for you to get from the river into where they were, to the lake. So they would find a way to put wood and things like that, and once you got into the lake, you wave at them because you saw them, you don't see them there. Well, they were answer to you. they were upset,
But he did see the trophies.
Right, the heads, yeah.
The shrunken heads from other tribes that they would display in the marketplace, and tourists would buy that.
The shrink heads.
Shrunken heads.
The tribes would fight each other, and whenever one man would kill another, they would cut his head off, bring him back to the village, and they would smash the skull out and make a trophy out of the head. So
They would let it dry in the sun until it shrank.
So those were their trophies, but when foreigners started coming in, they started buying those heads and bringing them back to Europe and to America, and people would use them as keychains, right?
And then the Indians, since they saw that they were making money out of that, they would just go and kill the other Indians. they, you know, they had a way of doing that. They did it so. Yeah, they would kill the Indians just to get their heads as a trophy, as a trophy. Headhunters.
And it went on for a long time until those heads became illegal anywhere in the world. I think the United Nations intervened. People were paying him according to how they received the animals. So it was pretty much by, he had to accept the good faith of the clients, and they would claim always that animals would come in dead or in bad shape. Then he decided to open a warehouse in Miami. And so he purchased a house in Miami where the animals were received, and then they were checked, and whatever animals were dead were discarded, burned. They had a machine that would burn them, and so this way, the people that would receive the animals, they didn't have any excuses, because then the flight was very short, and they knew that the animals that were being sent were in very good health. Whatever they would tell him, he had to trust it.
Oh yeah.
So by him opening an office here in Miami, he knew that the animals are alive, and he was able to do a lot more business, and you wouldn't get cheated.
So that's the first reason why you came to Miami.
Yeah, right.
That's the reason.
Yeah, because they were deducting too much. They were, you would send a bill for $2,000, for instance, and they would pay you $1,200. So that they would claim they're weak, too weak, or dead, or scratch, or whatever. Right. You know. I came because of the business, but then I like it here.
You like it? What did you like?
Huh?
What did you like? Why did you like it?
Oh, everything. I love this country. I'm an American now. I'm a wife. Yeah. Oh my God! Once I got here and I saw how the difference, I decided, oh, this is my country. The peace. You here you can sleep in peace.
And in Colombia?
In Colombia, at least when I was over there, a lot of theft at night, yeah. You have to lock your doors real well, real look good. Once I came here for the business, and I liked the country, I went to the consulate and applied for the visa. So, and after a while, that we were here a few years later, we applied for the citizenship, which we have.
How was Colombia at that time?
Well, that's the time when they began they began shipping marijuana. Out of Colombia, and that was a very good business for them, and they were making so much money, and they were so low people. You know, they were criminals. You know, they wouldn't care to kill anybody, and they had so much money that if you went to a market to buy meat, for instance, the best meat they had already bought.
And I recall you told me about one of your employees that once that he got caught bringing some marijuana in one of the snake crates.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, so he was selling me the snakes. I needed the snakes, so I bought them at a good price, whatever. But what I didn't know is that he was bringing the snake, in the boxes he was bringing the snake, he was also bringing marijuana. He came to Miami, and he was caught in the airport. And he happened to be, you know, the one that was bringing marijuana. Yeah. But they found out after a while that I had nothing to do with that. I was buying snakes. You know, I never saw marijuana. They did nothing to me. Right. And you know what? That fellow went to jail. And while in jail for many years because, you know, his partner had been shot here and this and that. And while in jail, he met a Jew, a young Jew that was in jail, and the Jew had problems with the fellows in the you know, what you call that? Bullying him, yeah. And since this friend was strong, he told the bulliers, listen, if you bother this fellow, you're gonna have problem with me, and they never bothered him again. So when his time in jail was about to expire, the Jew told him, listen, my dad is a big boss in New York. If you need any money, just call me. He said, I came back to Colombia, and I tried to, you know, do clean, but nobody would give me a job, nothing, because I had been in jail, whatever. So I called my friend in jail. He connected with his father, and I got whatever I wanted. So he bought a ship. Ship was called the Night Train, and he started bringing marijuana close to the United States, and then the small boats go and buy it for them. He became a millionaire. He bought planes, he bought hotels, everything. And many people that I knew that I happened to meet while I was over there, they were in the business.
They wouldn't allow anything to come in unless they would put a huge tariff. And so a lot of Colombians, especially in the North Coast, they became smugglers.
Oh, yeah.
And so by the time that the drugs became the big hit, then they were very good at smuggling.
Yeah.
And so they would smuggle the marijuana, and they would smuggle the cocaine, and they would smuggle whatever they needed. They had a lot of practice.
Yeah, those days in Colombia were very, very raw. They would kill people every day.
And you know that
A lady here in Miami who used to buy pets from me suggested that I bring something. They say, only for one time. I say, then I tell, look at me, look at me. You know, I can't do that. You know, I'm afraid. The government began forbidding the export of certain animals, and every time more and more, until I say, well, the hell with it, I quit. I regret, and now, I mean, I wouldn't do that again. I mean, if I had, but I didn't know at that time that you know, I love animals. If I see even a roach, here at home, I pick it up with a paper and throw away somewhere. I don't like to kill animals at all. And I know that by sending animals, they were exposed to, you know, the weather here, you know, cold weather, some would die, things like that. So
The animal business became illegal, so you had to stop doing that. And then
then I went into the cattle business.
Okay.
Yeah, I bought one ranch for milk, beautiful, Armanillo. And after that, I bought California, California, Zulia, and Los Angeles.
4 ranches.
Four ranches. And oh my God, the last three were close to the water, to a huge lake. and where there was fish, and the cattle had water all year round, and during the dry season, they would get into the water up to their heads.
And so my father always had this dream of owning a ranch. And so there was a time when he owned 3 or 4, which when he sold the milk, he had a dairy business. And then all the males that were born at the age of 6 months were sold for meat.
So you were a cowboy.
Yeah. I had my horse and that, but, yes, I had boots that he bought here in the United States. So Texas cow boots and hat and shirt and pants.
And you used to listen to Johnny Cash, right?
Oh yeah.
And so I grew up, when I was 12, I grew up around that environment, riding horses, and I did a lot of fishing and hunting and
Like racing. He did like a rally car race, and there's a bunch of crazy things that happened on that ranch that were, or around that time, that were pretty exciting.
so he did very well for a long time with that business until the guerrillas started coming around and asking for money. So he told the guerrillas that it wasn't worth paying that money because the ranch wasn't making that much money.
There was a time when we couldn't stay in the ranch after 6 p.m. So at sunrise, I would drive back to Barranquilla.
I remember my dad said that by 6 o'clock everybody would leave, because after the sun came down there was a war between 3 armies. You had the Colombian army, the guerrillas, which is a revolutionary army, and then you had the mercenaries. So it was very dangerous. And they all dressed in camouflage, so you didn't know who was who.
So I say, well, this is not for me anymore. And I sold the ranch. Sold the ranches, and then we came here for good.
And so at that time, there was a general in the Colombian army that was a friend of his, and this general offered him some money for the ranch, and he sold it because the general wasn't scared of the guerrilla.
So with that money, you came to the United States.
Yeah, we
bought a home.
I bought a home and got into the real estate business. I got my license. I also got my insurance broker license.
He met some friends that were general contractors, and they would buy land and build.
Through some friends that were builders, I built houses for sale, and for rent, and 12 warehouses.
That was like 1980 when we came to live here, and that's around the time when my brother he was diagnosed with cancer in the brain.
One of my sons, the younger one, got sick with a brain tumor, and
How old was he when he got first sick?
12. He was 12, and then he lasted years. And through that time, I had my head was not working right. I was much concerned about his problem.
That brought you closer to God.
Since he was 12, he has not done the first communion, and a priest, a father, went home to teach him, to prepare him to take the first communion. And he began to teach him. One afternoon, I happened to be there, and they sat in the living room, and I was in the other room, and I began to hear what he was saying. He was telling my brother, and he became so interested in that I soon went and sat with them, and oh my God, I, I say, oh my God, what I have been missing. And then my life changed ever since. I used to drink uh, whiskey in Colombia a lot with my friends. I quit. They couldn't believe me when I went back one day and they offered me that, and I wouldn't. Oh my God! They said, no, not that. You will soon. I said, no, I will not anymore. I saw life differently. You know, my life changed, and not only mine, our life changed. You know, so that was great, fantastic. I'm a good believer. I believe. I pray every day. We pray every day. You know. When he passed away, we were sad though. We have lost our son, but it was gave us like peace.
It was a relief.
It was like a relief because he wouldn't have to go again through chemotherapy, through all these procedures. So I know he was at peace, and I know where he was. So ever since we live a different life. We enjoy our friends, our family, everything. You can imagine how happy we are.
Right.
We are. I love this wife of mine. I love her very much. Oh, I thank him every day for having her. She loves me too. I love my sons, my grandson, my great grandsons.
Sí, señor, tenemos hasta bisnietos.
Yeah. You don't really need anything in life but to have God, have peace, a simple life. After he passed away, I made a big mistake of going back to Colombia.
Maybe a year after my brother died, they headed back to Colombia, just to change the lifestyle. My mother went to the cemetery like almost every day, so he wanted her to find some social life with her old friends.
I was depressed, you know, and I went back to Colombia, and I put that business of signs for traffic signs and in those garbage cans, you know, made of with for advertisements, and they would pay me a monthly rent for that.
He tried to do some business over there with advertising, but he realized that working in Colombia is just very, very hard.
The people, I never expected that in Cartagena, in Colombia, they would ruin the beautiful artwork on everything. They would
Graffiti.
put graffiti.
We didn't know how sneaky and how rotten the people were over there, so we pretty much lost a lot of money there while we were there. But when we came back from Colombia, we were pretty much broke.
When I came back from Colombia, after I had lost money with that business, I began selling health insurance. And it was tough.
Hard time.
It was hard time. So one night about 10 o'clock I was coming back home, and I say, oh my God, until when will I fall? And I heard when he said,
God.
you're not going down anymore. Something like that told me that things would change, that I would, from there on, I would go, well,
Can you say that in Spanish? What you heard? Maybe better in Spanish.
ya no caerás más.
So you will no longer fall.
Fall. You don't no longer fall because I was falling and falling and falling. And sure enough, when I got home, half an hour later, that lady and I, somebody I had met selling insurance, he was not my friend, but he had seen me, somebody from Venezuela. He called me. He said, Don, and I said, well, would you like to work again here? Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, what to? But that your boss, which used to be my boss, it seems he doesn't like me. He said, no, no, no. He asked me about you. Would you like to work for us again? And I said, yes. Call him in the morning. And I did. I was surprised he was so nice with me.
So you're saying it was like a miracle?
Yes,
God
a miracle.
made that happen,
Yeah.
So we've always adapted to the times. You know, if things get bad, we find something else to do.
Oh my God. From that day, I began selling insurance. You won't believe.
He still had his real estate license, and then I got my license, and we worked insurance and real estate until we were able to get back on our feet again.
Yeah, right. And I did good with you. Yeah. We bought houses. We resold it. We made money. I bought this apartment completely paid off. Yeah.
Real estate started really booming in Miami, and so I sold a condo that I had bought and doubled my money, and my father sold his, even in that bad neighborhood, that little house, he doubled his money. And we kept on doing that. Like every 2 years we would sell our home, buy something else, and every 2 years we would kind of double our money. I mean, we did well. We ended up like in $1 million townhouse on the ocean.
It seems to me like where you are now is the American dream and the American goal, and you know, it's a place of where you find yourself complete and at peace and happy, and you found your peace and happiness, you know, coming to America and overcoming your situation where you were born and you know, your circumstances.
Right.
It seems like a miracle or you know, a dream to me, and you've accomplished that.
Thanks God, and I'm very happy and very happy with my wife who has helped me all through the years. And I have a lovely family. I love them all. And yes.
Well, we are very proud of you, and we are very thankful for all the hard work that you put in your life, because for us it has been a lot easier. Well, the reason we decided to that we'd like to share my father's life with the future generations is so that so that you guys know that, so you guys know where we came from and how we've always like it's always important to adapt to the situations, to always learn more than you need to learn, to always work hard, to have faith in God because He always provides, and to listen to your parents. I think those are important things that we wanted to share with you, to know that even if you have to go to another country or change your business, and as long as you just do your best, everything's gonna be all right.
A big lesson is just finding happiness within yourself, rich or poor. We've experienced them both.
We're here because we wanted, the family and the future families to meet you and to see how your hard work and your effort put us where we are.
We are happy, that's all I can tell you. We are just very happy. We are ready to go when our grand Lord calls.
My dad always tells me, tells me life has been a roller coaster. I've had my ups and I've had my downs.
Right.
But at the end of the ride, I got off the roller coaster laughing, because you know, if you live life with that attitude, you can enjoy life.
Right. It's an adventure.
And another thing that my dad always told me is the lazy man works twice. So if you do something, do it right the first time around.
Is there any advice you can give the
Yeah.
future generation?
Yeah, learn and be kind, be good, love our Lord, and progress. I mean, always go for. I mean, if you fall, get up and try again. You know, you learn from that. You learn from that, right?
Right.